Hi, my name is Tim. I'm here to speak about a isolated incident, or a isolated incident that happened to me in particular at Target. It involves not only a Target store, speaking with them on the phone, but also Target's corporate customer service line and their lack of ability to function as a store properly should. It's not that I've only had bad experiences at Target. I've actually had some very good experiences, and I've met some very nice people there. The incident that I'm talking about is one that's isolated, but it's a continuing and it's still continuing, or it was a continued and it's still continuing incident. My daughter had surgery, and this has been almost a month ago now at this point. And for her surgery, I was looking for a plush doll for her, and I really wanted to find a plush Eeyore doll. And this is a little backstory to get to where I'm going. Eeyore was really what I wanted to find for her because, uh, one, one of her favorite Pooh characters, and two, it's the broken donkey who's always okay. So I thought it would be cute for her to have for the surgery. And that's where it all starts. I called. Actually, I looked at a few places, and after not finding it at a few places, I thought I certainly should find it. I decided, well, maybe I should call and check. So I called BuildABear, which is like a little place you stuff your own bears, and they uh, they they basically, you get a empty bear and you fill it full of fluff and make your own little teddy bear. They suggested to call Walmart, Target, places like that. Well, I'd already checked Walmart, so I said, "Well, let's call Target." I called Target, and after being on uh, their recording for quite some time, basically just you never get anyone anymore. It's always, if you need this, press 1, if you need this, press 2. In fact, mostly now it's you wanna speak in Spanish or English or this or that person. So after being on that for a while, I finally did get to someone, and, in the toy department, was where it was supposed to be, and I don't believe they could hear me. I don't know. Now at first, I wanna say they could hear me because at first they were being cooperative answering me, but, then it was as if they couldn't hear me, and, I kept hearing someone say, "Hello?" And I said, Yes, ma'am, I'm still here." This was them speaking, "Hello, hello," and I said, "Yes, ma'am, I'm here. I'm still interested if you have an Eeyore stuffed plush animal." And then I hear, "Hello, hello," and I said, "Well, ma'am, can you hear me?" And I heard her. I don't know what language I can and can't use, but it was a four-letter word that started with F, uh, effing idiot. And then I think she thought she might have hung the phone up before she did because she turned to her coworkers, and I heard her say, "This, Jack, you know, Arse, ASS, on the phone here, something, something," and then it did click. And I was like, What?" I said, "This something's not right." So I tried to call back, and I waited again, and I couldn't get anybody. And so at that point, I was furious, and I have PTSD. I didn't want to get into a verbal argument with someone who's willing to cuss me for no reason. I didn't. I wasn't forceful with her. I wasn't like, does that make sense? I was just simply asking a question. I gave her no reason to be upset with me. I suppose she must have been doing something else and wanted to get back to it and just decided that, you know, I don't know what she was thinking, to be honest. I don't know why she cussed me, in the first place. And like I said, she did it directly to me, and I'm pretty sure maybe the phone cut out on her end, but I could hear her clearly. I don't understand why she wouldn't have been able to hear me. That's never happened before. I checked and I made sure my mute was off, that I didn't mute the phone on accident or something. And, I went back to hello, I can still hear you. And, she had, at one point, she had chuckled as if she could hear me, but she didn't. Now I couldn't swear to it. Maybe she couldn't the whole time. This is coming from me one sided. So that was my process of thought was, she's hearing me and she's just not caring. She doesn't want to deal with it or put up with it. She doesn't want to look through the inventory to see if they've got it, so forth. So that's where the problem started. Now it ensued later because I thought this isn't proper behavior. It's not something I should be objected to, and I need to call corporate and let them know about this. So the first call I make to their customer service line, their corporate customer service line, again is a recording again, and I finally got through to store issues and complaints, and clicked on it. And as I was telling the lady what happened and why I was calling and why I was upset, um, it 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 disconnected, and I thought, oh, okay, and I looked and my phone was still running. It had just disconnected. So I was like, okay, well, maybe something happened. So then I called back and I said, listen, I really need to talk to a supervisor. And the lady said, well, what can I do for you? I said, listen, I was just talking to someone and I got hung up on. I really need to talk to a supervisor. And the lady said, okay, and transferred me to a supervisor. So I thought, she transferred me to a supervisor, and she was just gone. She didn't introduce me, she just transferred me. So I start to talk to the woman, and I have their names written down, but I do not know where they are, and we'll leave that out for now anyway. But, all of the women I spoke to all of the people I spoke to at the call center were women, all 3 of the ladies. Now the second well, 4 technically. The second one that had transferred me, and I was telling this other lady my story, I said, "Well, wait," I said, "So you are a supervisor, is that correct?" She said, "No, I'm just a floor rep." And I took back and I said, "Well, I was just talking to another sales floor rep, and I asked them to transfer me to a supervisor." And she said, "Oh, well, supervisors aren't available. It can take them a few days to get back to you." I don't know why she would have said that. And I said, "But she did. She told me that you were a supervisor." And she said, "No, she just transferred me back into the queue. I'm just another representative." I said, "Great. Okay." I said, "Well, I need to speak to a supervisor and I need to speak to one right now." Because then I was getting pissed with them, of course. Pardon my language, upset with them again. I was already upset with Target. Now I'm upset with the call and their center. After a long hold, I was brought back online to say that there's no one available. And I said, when will someone be available? And they said that, it can take 24, 48
24,
hours,
48
up to
hours.
3 days for them to call back. And I said, well, why would it take 3 days for a supervisor to talk to me for 5 minutes? And she said, "Well, that's the best I can do." And then after that, uh, she put me on hold again, and it disconnected again. but she did have me in queue for a callback apparently. So I said, "Great. Well, let's make sure that I'm gonna get a callback." So I called back again and I asked who I was speaking to. And of course, I'd started writing down names at that point. That's why I said I'll leave their names out of it. This will be the fourth woman at the call center that I've spoken to. This will be the sixth total person that I've spoken to. All within a 24-hour period, while I'm uh, still in the process of looking for a doll for my daughter who's getting ready to have surgery, mind you. She's having surgery the next day. So I was gathering the stuff together for her just as a present and for comfort, and I thought she would enjoy it. So I called the third time that I actually called the call center, and again, the sixth person I'm speaking with, she lets me know that supervisors aren't on the floor and that I have to schedule for one of them to call me back. And I said, okay, well, that's not what I was told, but I was told I was in queue to have one call me. She said, no, no, you're not. And I said, uh, well, I just spent 10 minutes of my time and I have the calls marked on my phone. So, the time frames and stuff. And I said, I spent 10 minutes talking to a woman who said I was. And she said, no, no, you've not been put in queue. And she said, but I'm going to do that for you now. And she said, listen, she said, let me try to help you. And this was the only woman I got there that was the least bit caring even. And she was a decent person, mind you. Um, she asked me what my problem was, and I told her. I said, "Listen, I was at this store is the one that I called. I simply asked if you had a plush animal, plush doll, and if you did, if it was available in inventory because my daughter's having surgery. I'm running out of time and I haven't been able to find it yet. So can you help me out?" She actually looked in the catalog. She checked with the store inventory. They do carry it, which I was told before the conversation, before she started the whole "I can't hear you" thing. The woman said, "No, we don't carry anything like that." Yes, they do carry that. They do carry a whole series of stuffed animals, which do include the Winnie the Pooh characters. That I could order them from the catalog, and I explained that, "Thank you, but I needed it now because the next day, unless they could overnight it, which they couldn't." Um, and I asked her, and then I told her what happened, and I said, "Why did that happen?" She said, "That should never happen." And I said, "Well, I agree, but why is it that now that when I approach the customer care center, which is supposed to deal with problems like this, I'm being, you know, blacklisted or stonewalled?" And she said, "I don't know." She said, "I think that maybe it might have been a mistake, and the other one I have no excuse for. Maybe she was just trying to console you by transferring you and thought you could get help." She said, "I don't know what their line of reasoning was, but I really," this is her words, she said, "I really don't think that anyone was trying to harm you here. I think they were just trying to get you help and didn't know how." And I was like, "Well, help or no help, it's lies, and it's ended up being exactly what lies do, less than helpful. It's hurt more." And I said, "Listen," I said, "I want to call back from a supervisor." And she said, "Well, you're already in queue for that. One will be calling you back." I said, "And I want something handled at this store with this employee, surely." And she said, "All those calls are recorded." And I said, "Great." I said, "I would like a call back from you to explain what's happened if possible," because she was super nice. That's the reason. I said, "So you in particular and also the store manager there, to tell me what's going on with this. What in the world have I done that's warranted someone to do that to me this morning?" And she said, "Well, I'll let them know, and I'll put that in for them to give you a call." I've yet to got I have gotten no response. None. No response from anyone at this point, and this is my daughter's been out of surgery now for 2 weeks. So
So it's been
it's been over 2 weeks, and not only have I gotten no call back from a supervisor who supposedly I'm in queue twice to have a supervisor call me, but, no resolution, and the woman, like I said, she was very polite and nice, and I honestly believe that she tried to help me. Like I said, she even pulled out the catalog and looked and said, "Yes, it's in stock," and, "Oh, we do carry that," and I don't know why they said we didn't, and I mean, so she even disputed the fact that the woman had lied to me before, apologized for her rude behavior. I get it, but still no one has done anything. The managers never called me. The woman that I was speaking with at the store never called me. No one has ever given me any verification as to why this happened, what caused it. Um, I mean, granted, I understand a lot of times you're working at a store and you're a stock person and you have to answer this kind of call. You don't have a lot of time to go through specifics, but surely they're not hiring people and telling them just treat people how you want to, because that's not how you treat people.
What if an employee in Target actually did escalate your situation to the top management? And what if they called you and offered you to do something for you to make you feel better and to remedy the situation and remedy the way you've been treated? What could they do for you right now that would make you feel better, Tim?
To be honest with you, what would make me feel, I mean, if someone could do or did do, mostly an apology, mostly an explanation, which the thing is corporations are so bad about doing that because that means they have to admit guilt. An apology, of course, is an admission of guilt. No one wants to do that. But all I really would like is for someone to call me and say, "Listen, hey, we messed this up, and we're sorry." Um, you know, yeah, they don't have to go on with the valued customer and all that stuff that they tell everyone. I mean, I'm glad if they feel that way, but basically just an apology. And also, it would be nice to know that they've remedied the situation. Um, Honestly, I don't want anyone to lose their job. The woman I don't know her name, and from now on, it's almost a given with me now. I tend to ask for names. I didn't that day, but since then, since a few other things, it seems like now more and more anymore when I talk to someone, "What's your name?" and I re-get it, even if I don't write it down just in my head, I'll know it. I don't know who this woman was. I don't know her name. I can look back and tell you the exact date that it happened and general time, but it was in the morning, 9:30ish, and I don't want her to get fired. She might need that job. She might have children that she supports. That might be something that's really good for her, and if so, that's great. But retrain her, or at least don't put her in a position to answer the phones if that's how she's going to act and react. But retrain her in general on how to handle people.